tragedy in Colorado where two teenage gunmen turned another American school into a terrible, terrible scene.
It began as an ordinary school day, and it was almost over when gunfire erupted this afternoon.
Some breaking news out of Orlando, Florida. Police say several people are dead after a mass shooting.
Deadly shooting at the Pensacola Naval Base.
Were killed and 3 others injured, killing 2 civilian workers.
Shot fired, second floor.
The United States is home to almost 330 million people. We are all governed by one of the most important documents ever written, the Constitution. In the Constitution, there is an amendment that is causing one of the most impactful debates in United States history. The Second Amendment reads, "A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." But what does it mean? As of right now, gun ownership is protected in the Constitution, but there are many varying opinions on the interpretation of the Second Amendment. Some want to completely ban guns, some think there should be no restrictions, and many more are in between. Overall, there are many different viewpoints on the Second Amendment, yet there is one thing many Americans can agree on.
Having gone through this in Sandy Hook, that community will never ever be the same. And I want to bring us back to this issue of background checks if I could, because I think there's real opportunity. I agree. There is no other issue out there in the American public today like background checks.
According to surveys compiled and averaged by PolitiFact, around 90% of Americans support universal background checks.
Well, I'm looking to do background checks. I think background checks are important. I don't want to put guns into the hands of mentally unstable people or people with rage or hate, sick people. I don't want to, I'm all in favor of it.
Yet why haven't we seen any big policy changes from Congress? According to OpenSecrets.org, the NRA has spent nearly $2.5 million lobbying Congress, and that was just in 2019. This lobbying leads to gridlock, as Congress becomes more and more partisan on issues. So where can we see change? This map shows the states that have enacted universal background checks, limitations on certain firearms, and other measures of control. Many state governments are enacting gun control laws because the federal government has been unable to agree to change. Many agree to change, but many do not. Many people interpret the Second Amendment to say that gun ownership is a right, and that taking away guns would break down our own constitutional values and be extremely dangerous.
And when I raised my hand to swear an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States and the state of Georgia, I meant that. My concern is when people use rhetoric like, "We're going to come and take your guns," that it's going to put our deputies, our law enforcement officers at risk. I think it's irresponsible, and quite frankly, when we say that we're going to defend the Constitution, we're not going door to door and confiscating guns. That's not what the Constitution says. It says, "shall not be infringed."
Another argument is that the issue is less about the guns, but more about mental health. According to the book Mass Murder in the United States by Grant Dew, at least 59% of the 185 public mass shootings from 1900 to 2017 were carried out by people who were diagnosed or showed serious signs of mental illness. Another argument against gun control is that criminals may still find access to guns, rather than law-abiding citizens who may go through the proper procedures to obtain a gun.
The problem is, like heroin, there are laws against it. You have a law against gun ownership that it doesn't stop guns from being present in the country.
2020 is an extremely important year for the United States of America. So, candidates,